Hey! I'm Rick James, bitch! Hey, I'm Rick James, bitch!
Look at that! Calvin's got a job! Hey, Calvin!
Look here, nigger. That there's my girl. Anyone has sex with my sister, it's gonna be me.
Wonderful, wonderful Tuesday.
Yes. It's been a while. It's been a while since we, and I'm already recording. Oh yeah, I set it to automatically record, so we're good. So yes, welcome to, I didn't know I couldn't do that, episode 3. We've been gone, man. Been gone for a while.
It's been a while. Back.
Yes, and we're going to start this episode with a little overview of some of our favorite sketches. We had a hard time, well, because they're all so good that when you have to try to pick some, it's not easy because really they're all great. And this is probably going to be, like we were saying, it's probably going to be at least a 2-parter, if not a 3-parter.
Right.
We may do some stuff in between. I don't know. I still think it'd be interesting to do a exploratory podcast on Donnell Rawlins and how he got involved in the show, because from the commentary, he was never cast in the show. He was just hanging out on the set all the time, and they would just put him in stuff.
And they realized he was a funny individual.
And it made his career. I mean, now he's
pretty much made his career.
Yeah, he's a stand-up comic now, touring, and yeah. So, welcome. And the last episode, we talked about the sudden death of Chappelle's show. So this time we're taking a couple of steps back and looking at some of the great sketches, including the Rick James bitch, which just became insanely popular. And I think we talked about this. It's like there's so many sketches that are better than the Rick James. I mean, not to say Rick James isn't funny. I mean, it was a very funny sketch. And Charlie Murphy's just anything with him telling a story. He's a great storyteller, but this one blew up, man. It went nuts.
And I don't even, like we said, I don't even really quite understand. I mean, like we said, it's funny because it's Dave Chappelle. I mean, what's not funny about anything with Dave? But all things considered, I don't even think I would have it in my top 10.
Yeah,
it might make my top 10, but 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely not top 5 for me.
Oh no, nah.
But it's just that, and they talked about this in the commentary a little bit, how that catchphrase, they never intended for it to be like a catchphrase. It was just another one of those ad libs that Dave did. You know, I'm Rick James, bitch, and that. It's interesting how audiences catch on to certain things, and that just blew up.
Yeah. So,
okay, so the first sketch on the list is the Whack Arnolds, and they're they're making a parody of some of those McDonald's commercials that they don't show them now, but they were showing them in the early 2000s, where it's like how McDonald's was, you know, contributing to the Black communities and the ghettos, and you know, giving young African Americans a chance to succeed in life.
Yeah, support their community.
Yeah, to give back to their community. And so I got an audio clip from the commentary where they discuss the inception of the sketch, and then some other little interesting tidbits about some of the people that are in the sketch. So I guess we'll start with the commentary of how things got going, with a little bit of background on their writing process, and then how this sort of came about.
Coming up here, this was, now in the last episode I explained our writing process, which is one of us will have an idea or someone will pitch us an idea, and then we sort of put all these ideas on an index card. Then Dave and I will meet and write in an office, or is his house, my apartment, whatever. Then this was sort of like that, where we were just sort of hanging out, and you were like, you didn't want to write any stuff on the card, so you just started typing this, and
it wrote itself.
It played itself. It wrote itself. So it's like it's like a funny commercial parody, and it came from nowhere. We'd never talked about it. We'd never, it turned out hot.
That part is like my brother used to work at McDonald's and he'd come home smelling like French fries. She's like, oh, nigga, you smell like French fries. That just makes me laugh.
a little bit of an inside look at their writing process and how they use index cards. And this one just sort of came out, and Dave said, screw these index cards, just started typing it out. And yeah, I think we can play the sketch. We can jump around, obviously, because I don't think we need to play the entire thing.
Who you fucking, OJ?
Baby crying.
That commercial, those guy Calvin will get a job at a fast food restaurant and they act like that's the best thing that can happen to a guy in the ghetto. Like the whole neighborhood's excited. Like this is going to end poverty. Calvin, you getting this job is the signpost to a new era in the black community. Thank you, fast food restaurant. That's not what it's like to work at fast food. People aren't proud of you. Let's see what we're having with Calvin. He really had a job in fast food.
Look at that. Calvin's got a job. Hey, Calvin.
Let's go, young blood. Way to go.
Whack Arnold's is proud to give young African Americans an opportunity to serve their communities, making them feel responsible for the welfare of their own environment.
Afternoon, ladies.
Ew, nigga, you smell like French fries.
All right. That's the first part.
Well, here you go, Calvin.
First check.
My first check. Thank you, sir.
Whack Arnold's is proud to give young African Americans an opportunity to serve their communities, making them feel responsible for the welfare of their own environment.
Look at that. Calvin's got a job. Hey, Calvin.
Hey, Miss Hopper. Got my first paycheck.
That's good, Calvin. Very good.
Way to go, young blood. Getting paid.
Hey, yo, I heard Calvin got a job.
Man, I'm proud of him.
Let's rock that nigga, man.
rob the guy that works at McDonald's.
It's pretty
All
funny.
right. Like 3 weeks later.
No, it was Whack Arnold's. Whack Arnold's.
Whack Arnold's, right. They're not from McDonald's, are they?
Is proud to give young African Americans an opportunity to serve their communities, making them feel responsible for the welfare of their own environment.
The music is sad now.
It was Miss Harvey.
Oh, she died, Calvin, of high cholesterol.
Too much Whack Arnold's.
Damn, Calvin, you would beat the hell up.
What's up, spry guy? Punk, bitch.
Corny ass nigga.
Yo, Calvin, it's the thin line between fries and shakes. Look at part two. The meanest burger in the world. To be the meanest burger in the world if you cook it that way. I need to stop smoking this shit here.
I want to stop there because Darren, I know you can explain the backstory on that. The song.
Oh, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, a popular R&B song made famous by the group H-Town. So that's where that whole little part of that skit came from. It's a staple in the black community.
And see, all this time that I was watching the show, I never got that reference, obviously. All right, so now he's coming home.
My favorite part of the skit, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, now I got to start over.
The commercial those guys
Whack on.
could be the meat that way. I need to stop smoking this shit here, boy. Hey, brought y'all home some dinner from work.
Calvin, you can't keep feeding me and your baby hamburgers and french fries every goddamn night.
What the hell do you expect me to do?
Nigga, get a real job, bitch.
Get me Community. I'm responsible for the welfare of my own.
Give me that type of ass bullshit.
I'm under a lot of pressure. Huh? Who you fucking, OJ?
Well, Calvin, you always working.
Oh, you fucking the fairy. I seen that African leader here when I was coming in.
Well, shit, if you was here a little bit more.
Like Arnold is tearing his family apart. Yo, Miss Harvey, Dad. Baby. Baby's crying. See? And guess what? The rib sandwich is coming back on Tuesday. Guess who ain't getting one?
I don't eat pork anyway.
You damn right you don't eat pork, because I ain't giving you none. I ain't giving you no hamburgers, no apple pies. I ain't giving you shit. Calvin got that on lockdown. If you want some whack Arnold's, you got to go through me. You cut off. You cut off. I'm Calvin around here. You know about me? Everybody know I got a job.
Pure comedy and pure genius.
It's just great.
Tell us more about the cutoff part.
So that whole part at the end where he starts telling her about the rib sandwich is coming back on Tuesday. And then, I ain't giving you no hamburgers. I ain't giving you no French fries. I ain't giving you shit.
You cut off.
That was all improvised. That was not in the script, and it turned out to be one of the things that we quote to each other all the time.
Yeah, oh man, the cutoff part is, yeah, we use that weekly for sure.
As a matter of fact, I used it a few minutes ago when you were getting on. Your audio was not working. I said, your audio's cut off. That one is just it's omnipresent in our lives.
It is. And what about the way to go, young blood?
Yeah, so that's that guy, Anthony Berry. I wanted to show his IMDb page. He's in a few sketches. He's in our favorite Black Bush, which we probably won't get to, but he plays.
Yeah, that's Black Bush is not a this episode thing. That pretty much deserves an episode by itself.
And honestly, it might get one. So he's the guy that did the Cradle of fucking Civilization. They're talking about
drop that.
Yeah, don't drop that shit there. Pray to God you don't drop that shit. And they discovered he does that holla thing. Holla, 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 holla.
Let me holla at you.
Let me holla at you. Let me holla at you. So that's him. Man on the Street. So he's just a guy. He doesn't have a lot of acting credits, really. If you look, he's got two things. He was in this movie I've never heard of called Personal Sergeant. But anyway, Anthony Berry, really funny guy. And I don't know if he's a comedian or what. It's just not much of an actor.
Well, at his age at that point in time, hell, I wonder if he's still alive.
It's a good question. I was not able to find a Wikipedia on him, or any kind of bio, actually. So if anybody knows,
drop us a line.
Hit us up on Twitter.
hit us up and let us know if Anthony Berry is still alive.
And then in Boucher Wright, they talked about her in the commentary a little bit. She was in Juice, I think. She was in
great movie.
She's been in a lot of great movies, actually. And they called her and asked her if she wanted to play Chappelle's cheating wife in the Whack Arnold, Calvin's girlfriend in the Whack Arnold sketch, and she said yes.
Are you fucking OJ?
They find those two black gloves for anyone just listening to the audio. And if you haven't seen the sketch, you have to go watch it. But he comes home and there's these black gloves on top of the refrigerator. He's like, whose gloves are these? Are you fucking OJ? So many OJ references in this show. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's another good, interesting point as well. He did make a lot of OJ references. Yeah,
remember they did that like sports thing where they were like, when you throw the ball, you say Kobe, and then it was like other people, and that was one where Neil was getting stabbed in the face, and it was like they were naming out different sports people that have done that, and like the last one was like
OJ.
OJ. That might be a good one to do, like all of it, because it's not only in Chappelle's show, it's in his stand-up as well. He talks about meeting OJ.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Let's remember that. So anyway, that's Dave's brother. He said his brother actually worked at a fast food place and always smelled like French fries, and that's where that came about. So that was Whack Arnold's. Darren, any other thoughts before we move on to?
No, let's keep it rolling. Whack Arnold's is a great sketch that will go down in history as I think one of his best works. I think he did a great job on Whack Arnold's.
Yeah, and it seems a lot of the time from that commentary, it sounds like the sketches that turned out to be really popular and successful were that kind of conceived in that same way, where it was just kind of like late at night and they were writing and they needed to fill some time in the show, and those turn out to be some of the greatest sketches on the show.
Yeah.
All right, the next one we have is the Player Haters Ball.
Hate.
Yes. This is gotta be
one of my favorites. I got to tell you, one of my personal favorites, and outside of Kyle, one of my only other inner circle that deals with Chappelle. Definitely inside that circle, this is our favorite.
Yeah, and it's also Neil and Dave's favorite.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they talk about it on the commentary.
I remember that part on the commentary. Okay, cool.
So yeah, this is our favorite sketch. It's also Martin Scorsese's favorite sketch. Martin Scorsese watched the show apparently, and so that's the first clip that I have is Neil talking about meeting Martin Scorsese and him talking about the Player Haters Ball. So here we go. Got to mute myself here.
We got to meet Martin Scorsese. He said he loved the show and pointed out his favorite sketch was the Player Haters Ball, which is crazy. And
do the impression.
He goes, so I get home from the set of my new movie, The Aviator, and I'm flipping through the channels. And
he's telling this to Robert De Niro.
He's telling me, Dave, Robert De Niro, and Mustafa. Dave's the kind of manager guy. And so he goes, I get home from the set of my new movie, The Aviator, and I flipping through the channels, and I see you, point at Dave, wearing a fur coat. And you say to another guy, who was Charlie, nice suit. What can I say about that suit that hasn't already been said about Afghanistan? And I started dying laughing. Pop that. And he starts dying. So he's laughing. De Niro had started laughing on nice suit, so clearly he wasn't even listening. So I go, Mr. Scorsese, we steal from you all the time. And he goes, really? Like he was excited that two guys with a show on Comedy Central steal from him all the time. But it's just that was a really cool night.
So that's interesting, I thought.
Very.
Here's a little more audio.
All right, now this was pitched by a writer named Brian Tucker, who's a funny dude, and he sent us a sketch, and we rewrote it and sort of put our own little stuff in it, but and Silky Johnson, all that stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
All right, now again, here's some fortuitous shit. Ice-T called 3 days before this sketch and said, I want to do a sketch with y'all. And we had this sketch ready to go, and it was like, all right, well, he was in Pimps Up, Hose Down. We got to put him in the sketch. Charlie Murphy. Patrice O'Neal was first dude.
Donnell wasn't even written into
Donnell was not written into the shit, and I told him he could be in it like a month earlier, and then the day before he goes, son, how you not fuck with me in the skit? So I go, all right, you can come and be an extra.
But wow, Hot 97 deep.
So Donnell shows up, gets in the suit, and then he put the wig on, and he just immediately was like, son, my name is Beautiful.
Here's Yoshi again. We love this dude Yoshi. You seen him Pop Copy? You seen him Black Zilla? Donnell actually speaking Korean. He speaks Korean pretty much fluently.
He was in the service and was stationed in Korea.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
I know, right? I didn't, when you hear somebody, you just assume that they taught him enough Korean to say that.
Yeah, to get through, yeah. He was actually being pretty fluent.
Yeah, and that guy Yoshi was in the Blackzilla sketch also, and they're talking about how he could speak hardly any English at all, and some of the outtakes on the DVD, the bloopers are just hilarious because like he just can't get a sentence out in proper English, and they're like. Neil's like, he's lived in America since 1965. That's the best he could do in terms of the English language. So this one's a rather long clip. So we could start it, maybe jump around a little bit.
It's extremely long.
Yeah.
Clip.
Patrice O'Neal is also in the sketch. Famous stand-up comedian, died a few years back at too young of an age. In fact, I want to look him up real quick.
What was his deal? Was it heart issues?
I think it was, because he was always pretty overweight, and it was either heart issues or a stroke. It was a stroke.
Complications from a stroke.
November 29th, 2011. Oh, okay, so it's been a lot longer ago than I thought. He was a hilarious comedian, really funny. And his stuff is on YouTube too, so check it out, everybody. 41 years old, gone too soon.
Very young man.
I think he's great. He's really funny. And I didn't realize at the time, because I didn't know of him at the time, but going back and reviewing it to prepare for this episode, I was like, oh shit, yeah, he was in the Player Haters Ball. Another comedian that's also in there doesn't have any lines is Rich Voss. He's I think the only white guy that's in the Player Haters.
The Player Haters Ball.
When they're standing there looking at like doing the photo flip, he's in like a pimp suit.
Yeah.
And all of that also was improvised, by the way. All of their stuff about Rosie O'Donnell wearing underwear with dick holes in them. It was all improvised.
Yeah, you could tell on some of those because they couldn't even hold their laughter in. I mean, everybody. I think that's the one, matter of fact.
Yeah, he can't get through it.
Everybody just kind of lost it a little bit, and just, you could tell at the end of it, they just laughed. And do you have that? Yeah, let's go to that part.
Okay. Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, that's Patrice. Yeah, it's when they're doing the photo flip.
This is great, man.
Here we go.
Hating on one another. We play games with each other too, like our annual photo flip.
Oh,
Damn. Oh,
damn. Little ass teeth. You got dolphin teeth.
he always says he doesn't want anyone to see him shine. But the looks shiny to me. It looks like Malcolm X before he converted to Islam.
Next.
Thank you, Miss Hempy. Good Lord Almighty, so Osama bin Laden.
To pump my gas in my car in the middle.
Ironic, because I take yoga classes from him. Next picture, please. I like the song the girl sings, Papa Don't Preach. I got a song for you too, Mitch. It's called Daughter Don't Sing. Next picture, please. It's Boy George. Now that need to fight. She wears underwear with dick holes in them.
You kind of just see they just kind of lost it a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they all lose it.
National Player Haters Ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey. Man, you corny. Next, say something while I'm talking is getting shot.
Bleeding.
So without further ado, let me give you the nominations for Player Hater of the Year. Y'all ready? First up, Buck Nasty. Buck Nasty is nominated for getting his best friend's wife pregnant, then tricking his best friend into raising the little mother. Yeah, holla at your boy. Damn, that's hateful. The next nominee is Pitbull. Pitbull is nominated for calling the police on the drug dealers that moved next door to his house. Not because it was the right thing to do, just because he was jealous of all the money they was making. Pitbull! Finally, the one and only Silky Johnson. Silky Johnson is nominated for calling in a bomb threat to the Special Olympics, man. The winner of the 9th annual Player Hater of the Year award is Silky Johnston. Kiss my ass. I'm the biggest hater. Silky mink made out of 100% rat ass. Hit me, baby.
Hit me, baby.
That, of course, was beautiful talking. Beautiful on the weekends does stunts for Little Richard and gay movies.
That was also ad-lib.
First off, I would like to thank God Almighty for giving everybody so much and me so little. I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you. And as I sip my soda that I'm sure somebody spit in, I just would like to say to all of you, kiss my ass, you rotten. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go home and put some water in Buck Nasty's mama's dish. Good evening.
Okay, so that's definitely going to get cut off. I mean, you went
A little too far.
little long on that one. There, copyright's going to come take us down on that one. You're going to split that up.
Yeah, I'll break it up.
As well. But that was great.
Such a great sketch.
It displayed just magnificent raw talent. Like you said, even some of that was just ad-libbed on the fly.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. It's just genius.
I love the when it was Donnell that said you look like a bootleg iced tea, two iced tea.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense, but it's so funny. And they were saying Ice T's suit looked like it was made out of raw meat. There's some, I mean, yeah, we obviously can't show the whole clip, but I mean, that's one that's available out there on YouTube, and you can go and watch it. It's one that is just got to be in the top 5 for me.
Yeah, that definitely makes my top 5. Definitely.
And just the fact that so much of it is ad-libbed. And then Donnell wasn't even supposed to be in it, and he ended up playing such a critical role. And Patrice. See, I had forgotten Patrice was even in it. So it's always good to go back and watch these things more than once. And Dave Chappelle has this like this toothpick in his mouth like throughout the entire sketch.
Yeah.
It's a great sketch. What do we got up next on the docket?
Probably my number 2.
Clayton Bigsby.
My number 1 or my number 2 is this sketch right here. Came out on episode 1, season 1. Clayton Bigsby.
Right out of the gate, they hit us with this thing.
I mean, the first sketch.
And it garnered
the bar was set extremely high with this one.
So this one is, it's definitely, I go back and forth between this one being my number 1 or Black Bush.
Yep, same here.
It's just,
same here.
And when the show first came out, I was like in 8th grade, I think, and I was watching it with my mom. My mom was watching it with me, and she thought this was so funny. She just thought it was like the funniest thing she's ever seen. And there's some articles, was this the best skit ever? Quite possibly it was. Because it made you look at blatant racism. I mean, the N-word is said like, somebody should count how many times the N-word is used in this sketch, but somehow it was used in a comedic way, in an ironic way. And, Dave said that this is the kind of comedy that is dangerous in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And
I think it kind of triggers into, it's kind of ironic that was said because, well, depending on when that was said by Dave, but the ironic part about it is, you know, how the show ended and what it ended over compared to the first sketch that, you know, was on season 1, episode 1. Kind of strange, you know, think about it.
Yeah. And we did, I forget, I think it was in the previous episode, or the first episode, I played that clip on the Howard Stern show where he was talking about it being explosive comedy.
Right.
And boy, oh boy.
Was it ever?
And it's also, they talk about this a little bit on the commentary, just briefly touch on it. I didn't pull the audio because they were talking about something else and it was just sort of like a sideline conversation, but it's kind of inspired by actual events. Dave's grandfather, I don't know if it was on his mother's side or his father's side. It says maternal grandfather was a blind Caucasian man who was raised to believe that he was African American. Like when he was in school, they just told him that he was black because he was in a school with black kids.
Yeah.
So they flipped that around and said, well, what if it was a black guy that was blind and everybody just told him he was white, and, you know, in Mississippi or wherever it's supposed to take place, he just became a racist and became a white supremacist. It was so ridiculous that it's just, and again, we can't play the entire thing, but there's some stuff I think we need to play at the beginning of it. And
it's hard not to play this entire clip.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in order for it to get on YouTube, I have to take the video out anyway. So all we get is audio because Comedy Central's keeping an eye on their product. They still show Chappelle Show still comes on TV, son.
It does, yeah.
So that is owned by them. And matter of fact, just Friday, I recorded, you know, and I actually was watching it on TV, and I was thinking, I wonder how much money Dave's getting for this, but. Yeah, let's play it. We could jump around if we need to. Just if you want me to stop at any point to make some comments, just let me know, and I'll do the same. So here we go. One of the masterpieces of this
yes.
show.
Yes.
For viewers sensitive to issues of race, be advised that the following piece contains gratuitous use of the N-word, and by N-word I mean nigger. There, I said it. For the last 15 years, a man named Clayton Bigsby has been the leading voice of the white supremacist movement in America. Though not sold in any major bookstores, his books Dump Truck, Nigger Stain, I Smell Nigger, and Nigger Book have sold over 600,000 copies combined.
Excuse me. Not sure we're in the right place. We're looking for Clayton Bigsby.
Look no further, fella. You found him.
Clayton Bigsby, the author?
What, you don't think I can write them books? Just because I'm blind don't mean I'm dumb.
How could this have happened? A black white supremacist. Our search for answers led us here to the Wexler Home for the Blind, where Mr. Bigsby spent the first 19 years of his life.
Bridget Wexler is the home's headmistress.
Well, he was the only Negro we'd ever had around here. So we figured we'd make it easier on Clayton by just telling him and all the other blind kids that he was white.
And we never questioned him.
A little picture of him as a kid.
Why would he?
You've written 4 books now.
I've written 6 books. They published 4.
What would you say is the overall message of your
This
books?
is great.
Sir, my message is simple. Niggers, Jews, homosexuals, Mexicans, Arabs, and all kinds of different chanks stink, and I hate them.
I noticed you referred to African
He almost
Americans.
said
What exactly is your problem?
How much time you got, buddy? Well, where I start? Well, first of all, they're lazy, good-for-nothing tricksters, crack-smoking, swindlers, wide nose breathing all the white man's air. They eat up all the chicken, but they're the
best dancers.
And they stink. Did I mention that?
Yes, I believe you did, sir.
Matter of fact, my friend Jasper told me one of them coons came by his house to pick his sister up for a date. He said, look here, nigger, that there's my girl. Anyone has sex with my sister, it's going to be me.
You never left this property, have you, Mr. Bigsby?
No, sir, not in many years.
What if I were to tell you that you are an African American?
Sir.
I'm going to make this clear. I'm in no way, shape, or form involved in nigger. You understand?
Yes, sir.
But nothing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a book signing to go to. Why don't you bring your media cameras over there if you want to see some real truth? Prudence! Prudence, have Jasper load the truck.
And Clayton Bigsby, black white supremacist, ventured out into an unsuspecting world. Sir, you're a friend. Why not tell him he's African American?
Listen, man, he's too important to the movement. But tell him he's black, you probably kill yourself, just to be one less nigger around. His commitment is that deep.
I'm overwhelmed by the irony.
That's Jasper, isn't it? Yeah. That's the one that's sleeping with his sister.
Yep. That's Jasper.
We don't like your kind around here. You better get out of here before something bad happens.
That's right. That's right. Tell that nigger.
You guys are so confused.
Come on. Clayton, we gotta go. Oh, thanks. There's a nigger around here. That dirty monkey was beating my hood. Black power. Nigger.
Hold on. There's a little.
I mean, you're just going to get cut off anyway. I don't know how you're going to get this, but I'm just hey, we're watching it. I'm into it. Look where you paused it. Look at the screen.
Look how confused all these redneck white guys are. So I just I had to stop because I forgot to tell part of the story. So Chappelle's white grandfather was on a bus right after Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed. And he was on a bus in, I guess, a black part of town. He was the only white guy on the bus, and people were like beating on the hood of the bus and saying, basically, like they were gonna kick his ass. They were talking like, "Hey, this white boy's about to get a beat down," and the guy was blind and didn't know that they were talking about him. So that's where that comes around from. It's like beating on the hood of the truck, and he's just like, "That's right, that's right." And they just look where I paused it. They're just, oh, this is gonna be the screenshot that'll go instead of the video. This will be what I show because they're all just like scratching their heads, like, what the hell just happened?
It's great. Continue on.
Okay.
Ocean did not end there.
Hey, why don't you young about to turn that music down? Neighbors might play sick. Boogie, boogie, nigger. Boogie, boogie.
Did he just call us niggers? Awesome.
The anticipation was at a fever pitch as we arrived at Mr. Bigsby's book signing.
The man who should be the next president of the United States. Yes.
All right, Jasper, time to show these people what white power's all about.
You better put your hood on, Clayton.
All right.
Might want to hide your identity to be safer. You know, in case some radical ain't sympathetic to the cause wants to shoot you.
That's good thinking. All right.
Puts the hood on backwards. Doesn't even matter.
Without further ado, the man who made us proud to be white, none other than Clayton Bigsby. That's it.
Excellent speech coming up.
Everybody have a lot of things to discuss.
Mainly.
America's in war with Al-Qaeda, but we're still losing the war against Al Sharpton.
That was ad-lib.
The Asian community.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's talk about Chinese people with their kung fu and All that silly chang chang chong chong. I can't understand you. Go back to your country, white power.
Mr. Bigsby was also critical of the entertainment industry.
Don't let the liberal media tell you how to think and feel. If you have hate in your heart, let it out. If you don't like Will and Grace, that don't mean there's something wrong with you. It means there's something wrong with Will. Who's homosexual?
Yeah. There's Neil. Politicians weren't spared either.
White power. Colin Powell. Conolingus rice.
Conolingus rice.
Conolingus rice sounds like a Mexican dish. Maybe we should put her on a plate and send her to Mexico so the Mexicans will eat her. White power.
White power.
Just open up your heart and let that hate out.
Show us your face. We want to see your face.
Who said that? You want to see my face?
Clayton, go on, brother.
You want to see my face? Don't be afraid, Jasper. We're talking about this. Don't be afraid.
Neil's head
There's
explodes.
a cookie and punch for us to enjoy, and we can talk about white brotherhood.
Okay, you got to pause it right there. Okay. So you just heard Dave go, there's cookies and punch. We can meet and talk about white brotherhood. Kyle, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you explain a story that took place.
I still can't believe you did this. That was one of the greatest moments.
This is hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's no joke when we talk about how big of fans we are of this show.
Yeah, it's almost
take it away, Kyle.
It's almost at like an obsessive level. It is an obsessive level, but yeah. So Darren and I used to work together at a place I won't mention, just in case somebody's listening. But we had an event with. I'll say it's a college. We both work in education, and so we had this event with faculty and staff, and so Darren had to make a speech as part of this meeting, this event that we had, and it was held in a room where we did have cookies and punch. There was actually cookies and punch, and at the end of Darren's speech,
this is great,
and literally to like half of the faculty and staff at this college, Darren says, "There's cookies and punch. We can meet and talk about," and I won't say the name of the college, brotherhood. And literally nobody in the room except for me got that reference. I almost lost it, and I was looking around the room. I was just like, did anybody else? Because I was like, how funny would it be if like some like 72-year-old like English professor like started laughing and got it? I don't think anybody else in the room besides
no, it was just you and I, buddy. We were
There's cookies and punch. We could meet. Oh man.
Yeah, that was had to tell that part. Okay, buddy, you can continue.
I still can't believe you did that. It was great. Well, that's another thing we try to do is like get in Chappelle quotes like around other people who have no idea.
Right, we do that. Yeah. They have no idea what we're doing. I mean, they just think we're just having a normal conversation or something, and we're kicking around Chappelle quotes throughout the entire conversation around them, and
just to entertain ourselves. Yeah, it's all for our own entertainment. I did that actually the other day at work. One more quick work-related Chappelle quote. I was talking to one of our deans, and we were talking about, giving students video versus just audio in terms of, what their preferences might be. And this guy was really into video. And I was saying, I think we should maybe audio we could look at because it's more, you can listen to it while you're driving and all that. And he was like, yeah, well, some people like video more. And I was like, yeah, well, some people say cucumbers taste better pickled. He had no idea what I was talking about.
Of course he did.
Just did that just for myself. Darren wasn't even with me. I just did that just to make myself laugh. Oh, okay. We'll continue here.
All right.
Thank y'all for coming. White power!
Mr. Bigsby was not harmed that night, but irreparable damage has been done to his reputation and in many ways the white power movement. We're told that in the last few weeks he has accepted the fact that he is a black man. And 3 days ago, he filed for divorce from his wife. When we asked why, after 19 years of marriage, he responded, because she's a nigger lover.
Golly.
Almost too much.
Now,
where it was said so many times, but the fact that he divorced his wife after like 20 years because he found out he was black and she was white.
And then if you watch the clip, at the end of it, it says, you know, major funding provided by the Trent Lott Foundation. That is just good politics, and you know who Trent Lott is. That is just hilarious.
Yeah, it said, I think at the end it says, the Trent Lott Foundation, loving black people one at a time. Oh, man. I think that one that's just such a great sketch on so many different levels.
Yep. I mean, you know, like I said, 1 and 2, it's hard for me. That or Black Bush. I mean, they're both right there together. But once again, I can't help but continue to state he came right out of the gate with that. That was the first freaking sketch.
Yeah, I was like, when he came back for episode 2 of season 1, like the first thing he said was, "I'm not canceled yet."
Yeah, because he knew he was, you know, he went out on a limb on that first episode, and I don't know, just the correlation between that, statements that he's made about, you know, certain comedy being in the wrong hands, and then the way, you know, the Chappelle show basically ended. After him having that, what I like to call sort of like an epiphany, it's just, it's strange, man.
Yeah, it's like he started the series off, you know, with no gloves, right into it, and you could tell what kind of show it was going to be. I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to be talking about these uncomfortable issues surrounding race. It'd be interesting to know the demographics of the audience too. Like, I mean, when you look at the audience, the people in the studio audience, it is a lot of black and brown people, and with a little spattering of white people. He even comments in the commentary on one of the episodes. He's like, a few white guys tonight. But it'd be interesting overall to see, because I mean, the show was huge on Comedy Central. It was like their #1 show, well, underneath South Park, obviously. But I wonder, was it majority black? Was it majority white? Was it just completely split down the middle? And we talked about this at the previous episode, how many people really truly got it and how many people were just laughing, like he said on Oprah, laughing at him instead of laughing with him.
Yeah, I think as time went along and popularity grew, he became more conscious and more aware. So I think I've kind of answered my own criticism and thought pattern of season 1, episode 1, Clayton Bigsby versus the Pixie.
Yeah, gosh, yeah.
I see now. I kind of answered my own question. I see the growth of, like, I got to be more careful with, you know, this comedy, this level of comedy, this type of comedy, because, you know, everyone's not for me. Everyone's not laughing at the situation itself. They're laughing at the situation. So I guess I kind of answered my own question. I can see the difference and why he can feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the guy that, well, this is interesting. So, how do you feel about the just absolute gratuitous use of the N-word in this sketch, especially being spoken by a white host. You know, the guy that was hosting it, the frontline thing. I mean, what do you think that was maybe a bad move? That was a dangerous move, or do you think it helps illustrate the irony that they were going for?
I think the irony that they were going for, I think they hit the nail on the head with it. Even, you know, the part where he almost stumbled in the beginning, when Clayton was talking and he caught himself. And
yeah,
I know that was scripted. I mean, I know it was part of the plan to make it appear that way.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest, it didn't bother me at all, actually, his use of the N-word. Yeah, it really didn't. As you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm probably alone on that.
It's an interesting...
As someone that let me rephrase that. As someone that uses the N-word all the time in my personal life,
trust
me, I use N-word all the time. Okay. It did not bother me. It didn't.
I've never heard you use the N-word, but you know, I'm a white guy, so
different circle, buddy. Yeah. Different circle.
It's kind of like that video of President Obama when he was like shaking the white guy.
Right. Kyle, that's exactly the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of
let me flip that question around. As a white guy watching that, and you know, not the edited version because you know, there's two versions of the Chappelle Show. One that's edited, and then there's one that's just lets it all hang out. As a white guy listening to that for the first time, were you uncomfortable hearing the N-word spewed on both sides of the fence? Let's break that into two questions. Did your booty cheeks tighten up a little bit hearing hearing the white guy say it so much?
Well,
or even how did you feel hearing Clayton say it? Well, Dave say it so much.
Well, what's interesting is for me, you know, I grew up in a liberal household, and you know, we were the only house on the block that didn't have the Bush Cheney sign in the yard, and so I was not used to hearing it except for when I went to school. And when I went to school, I heard black kids say it, and I heard white kids say it, and I heard the difference in when black people say it to each other versus when white people, which, you know, I mean, you and I went to the same school, so
right,
you know, in the deep South, in a very rural, very red state, and I think it's probably not like this now, but I mean, shit, I heard white guys just openly use the N-word, and that bothered me. That did bother me. I was in a class with a bunch of hicks. You know, my senior year, it was like one of those where, like, if you had a job, you had to sit in like one of the shop teachers' classrooms, and it was just me and like 8 other just shit-kicking redneck dudes, and I mean, they just openly used it all the time. That I had a problem with, and having some black friends. You know, I never used the word around anybody. I've just never, it's just not part of my world. So,
right.
You know, it was a little jarring, I guess, to hear it, especially from the white host, the frontline guy. But again, I think just like you are, I could see what they were trying to do. Even at age like 14, I could tell it was like, okay, this is satire and this is irony, and they're you know, they gave the disclaimer at the beginning, which I thought that was hilarious. He's like, and by N-word, I mean, you know.
He says it, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, strap in.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, there, I said it. And you know, like, what you're in for. And I do think, because I don't have anything else to do, I'm going to go back, I'm going to count how many times it's said, because it's just insane. It's gratuitous. But no, I didn't have a problem with it from Clayton Bigsby's character saying it. I thought that was particularly funny, and the way they say it, like Nigra.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
it's Nigra. They're saying Nigra.
Yeah. And which if you have some if you talk to some old white people in the South, yes, that's how they say it. That's how they say it. And so that part just really made me laugh. The whole thing, I get it, and you get it. So we're the audience, I guess, that was laughing with Dave as opposed to laughing at him.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Well,
So,
interesting take on that. Interesting take. I can dig it.
Yeah, it was weird. Like when I got to college and I was in like a sociology class, and I remember telling the class how when I went to high school, I heard kids say the N-word all the time, and they're just like, they couldn't believe it. These kids from these large, more urban school districts are just like, what? Like, you would get your fucking ass kicked if you went to Plano West, like somebody would beat the shit out of you for saying it. It's like, yeah, it was where we grew up was a very interesting. I've got good memories there, but man, there's some racism. There's some racism pretty much in every state.
That's true.
I mean, I went to California, and I thought when I got to California, it was all just nothing but liberals, but no, buddy. You
even ran across a few there, huh?
You get outside the city limits, you know exactly where you are. And I was like, oh, okay, they're everywhere. So yeah, a lot of racism out there in the world. It's a huge problem. But not to digress. The final sketch, I guess, that we'll get to this evening is maybe one of the most popular in terms of catchphrases. It's the Rick James, Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, telling stories. They realized on the set.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. We lost him as well. He was I forget what the first sketch he was in on the show, but hanging around the set. When you're shooting a TV show, there's a lot of downtime, I guess, because you got people working on lighting and writers are punching up scripts and stuff like that. So they had a lot of downtime, and Charlie Murphy would just tell these insane stories that didn't sound true at all about
but they were all true.
They were all true. And I mean, when you think about it, being Eddie Murphy's brother,
yeah,
it makes sense. You get okay. That's not the Charlie Murphy I was looking for. It's a white lady. Never seen her before in my life.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy was a stand-up comedian. Yeah, he died. Just a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, just a few years ago. Within the last maybe 2 or 3 years. Well, no, look, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, somewhere in there. 2017. Yeah,
3 years.
So I think he's actually Eddie Murphy's older brother, or maybe not. But
no, I think he's younger. He's a younger brother.
Yeah, imagine being Eddie Murphy's younger brother and trying to live up to that level of fame. I mean, and he talks about it like how Eddie would kind of leave and then they would really start partying, and
that's when the party would really take off, is when Eddie would leave.
Yeah, he played Buck Nasty in the Haters, which the time Haters is actually a pretty good one as well.
Yeah,
now that I think about it. So he's in a lot of episodes. Yeah, I mean, it was just a guy that Tyree from the Mad.
He was in the Real World. Yeah, that was a great one too.
You're gonna have to room with Tyree.
I had sex with you too, Katie.
Yeah. Lysol had sex with Katie. I just filmed it. No, Tyree, you had sex with me too. Correction, I had sex with Katie. Oh man, good shit. So I've got some commentary. Actually, the first thing I want to play on this is from another stand-up special that we might eventually do an episode on. It's Dave Chappelle, For What It's Worth. And this was a few years after Killing Them Softly, when he had already gotten Chappelle's show on the air. So he's talking about trying to go on vacation with his kids and people yelling Rick James at him. So I'm going to play that one real quick.
fuck, I need an alibi. I can't be no celebrity. This shit is just the worst. I'm seeing it. I see why stars are crazy, man. These motherfuckers. I went to Disney World with my kids, which is a big deal for me. I don't get to see my kids so much. I do Chappelle show 20 hours a day, sleep for like half an hour, raise my kids for 10, 20 minutes, and then I go back to work. Now, this particular day, I got to hook up with the kids. We went to Disney World. Everybody at the park, fucking everybody. Hey, Rick James, bitch. Hey, Rick James, bitch. It's like, hey, man, hey. You mind not calling me a bitch in front of my kids? Time out, motherfucker. We take a day off. Even Mickey Mouse did it. I said, this is the most unprofessional shit I have ever seen in my life. Rick James, bitch. Oh, I was fed up. I caught that motherfucker with an uppercut. Pop! Knocked his head clean off. Everybody was screaming. Oh my God, oh my God. Mickey Mouse is Mexican.
And this is sort of like the, I guess the backstory or the inception of how they got the sketch going. It's only 45 seconds, so here we go.
All right, now here's the story about this. We were doing the Time Hater sketch. Eating lunch with Charlie. Charlie goes, somebody brings up Rick James. Charlie goes, you know, I've had to fight that motherfucker like 10 times. What?
Forks drop.
Like, what did you just say? Yeah, see, hey, him and Eddie was cool. Rick produced Party all the time for Eddie. So Eddie's single, Eddie's record. And so he starts telling us these stories, and they're like the most cinematic visual. Charlie's obviously a great storyteller anyway. They're the most cinematic visual stories you've ever seen. And we'd wanted to do a Rick James sketch.
And we incidentally didn't have any material for the coming weeks.
Right, yeah, we needed sketches. So
it all worked out.
So then we just were like, tell those stories.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to have that kind of talent around to where they were able to pick up on that and develop some iconic classic material. Off of real stories.
Yeah, just having him standing there and like, I had to fight that motherfucker 10 times.
Yeah.
and the sketch, and that's the one we'll end on. But it's just so outrageous, and Rick James died shortly after they filmed that. Actually, I think.
Yeah.
Neil was talking about going to the funeral. The funeral was like 5 hours long, and he had to stay the whole time because he went with Charlie Murphy, and Charlie Murphy was one of the pallbearers, and said it was just like the craziest funeral he had ever been to. Which, I mean, Rick James had, just a read up on him, people. He had a really interesting and crazy existence going through the 70s and the 80s.
Oh yeah,
cocaine.
Cocaine was it's a hell of a drug, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a hell of a drug. It is. I think this one.
I didn't kick his couch.
Yeah, I remember putting my foot on his couch.
I remember putting my foot on his couch. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
So I'll find that one. That one's still processing, so I'll just pull it up on the old YouTube. And again, this one, like we said, it's probably not even in maybe top 10, definitely not top 5, but this one just blew up where he's on vacation and people are coming up to him and saying it. And he also talked about this on Oprah. When he was trying to do stand up, and people would just it's like almost he couldn't even tell his jokes because people were just yelling, "I'm Rick James, bitch," at him. Yeah. So bittersweet, because it is a funny sketch. These Charlie Murphy true Hollywood stories are hilarious, but this one just really took off and ultimately I think led to the end of the show. I mean, it was one of the contributing factors, I think. So
Rick James tonight, you know what I'm saying? And he comes out the room and I look at him and I'm not bullshitting, man. I seen like an orange, his aura or whatever. I seen it. His aura.
Oh, okay, he's talking about Prince. Rick James has an aura.
Whatever, I seen it. His aura.
Dave Chappelle.
He started kicking me. And he was mad niggerish, man, which was right up my alley.
I'm one of the baddest motherfuckers of all time. One of the best singers, one of the best looking motherfuckers you've ever seen. Hold my breath.
Any chick looking the whole side of their face, man.
I'm Rick James, bitch. Enjoy yourself.
We got closer, started hanging out. My brother didn't do any of this shit. So at night, when Eddie would break out, we would all be getting crazy and wild. And if I was hanging with Rick, he had this thing with me where he used to always like fuck with me, man. I don't know what started it.
You know, he was hanging out with the big dogs, you know. Charlie didn't know he was doing crazy things, and I had to straighten him out. Sometimes I had to go upside his head.
Things like escalated to the point where, you know, my man got too familiar, and I ended up having to whip his ass, man, you know, because, you know, he stepped across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
Habitual line
First
stepper.
time, you know, I had to end up whipping his ass. We went to Studio 54. We walking up into the VIP section, and I'm looking around and see who's there, and looking at the girls and everything. And all of a sudden, I heard something go,
Charlie Murphy!
He had this ring on, commemorate this song he had put out called Unity.
And this was imprinted in that black head of his for at least a week.
Eddie and everybody else thought that was the funniest shit. And so that threw me in a weird space, because I'm like, yeah, this is Rick James. He's a star.
I'm Rick James, bitch. It's a celebration, bitch.
Maybe I'm overreacting. I actually went there. Like, maybe I shouldn't do nothing. But my ghetto side was going, yo, stomp this motherfucker out, man. What the fuck is wrong with him?
Listen, what? And I'm just getting started, bitches.
He totally just wrote me off. Like, I'm that nigga to steal on. You know what I'm saying?
What, you gonna smack me back? I'm Rick James. He's Charlie Murphy.
I waited. I knew what hotel he was staying in. Eddie and then went home, and I said, y'all be right back. I shot over to the hotel. Went up to his room, knocked on the door.
So then he comes in there, and I said, look, bitch, I'm Rick James. Oh, Charlie Murphy!
He had his hand cocked to throw another right hand. When he's coming for his cane, caught him with the front.
Tip Charlie like he gave me some kind of Bruce Lee cross kick or something.
I kicked the shit out of him, man. Wind is knocked out. And then he screams out.
Coughs up blood.
Security!
The one in the front, he had crooked eyes and shit. The one eye was looking at me, and the other one was looking at Rick. And Rick had edged over by the window.
Now, darkness, the tables are turned. Do with him whatever you like.
Motherfuckers take one more step, I'm kicking this nigga out the motherfucking window.
Come here, freeze!
You know you was wrong for what you did to me earlier. Look what you did to my face.
I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. It was an accident. I was having too much fun. I'll offer you a truce. The stinkiest of the icky. You want to smoke with the old boy, Rick James?
Yo, man, my forehead is bumping, man.
Now that you mention it, I think I'm bleeding inside my chest. But I got the medicine. Bitch, come over here and have sex with Charlie Murphy. I'm Rick James, bitch.
That was how that particular incident ended. But it wasn't the last time I had to whip his ass, whip his ass.
Don't you think Charlie's a little old to be taking karate? You probably taking it with the little kids.
It's the Studio 54 thing, you know, that blew over. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Should we continue?
Sure.
Okay.
And but then, you know, here we go again.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Rick is encouraging me, you know, he shows up at my brother's house, fucked up.
Nice place, nigga.
So he had these dirty cowboy boots on. Pushed this out of the way, barged in the house. My brother had these brand new couches, they were suede, right? And he gets on the couch and says,
why don't I stretch out?
And just started grinding the mud on his couch, man.
Yeah, I remember grinding my feet on Eddie's couch.
Remember why you did it?
Because then he could buy another one.
Fuck your couch, nigga. Buy another one, you rich motherfucker. Fuck your couch, nigga. Fuck your couch. Darkness is.
Because my complexion used to call me Darkness. He calls me and my brother Darkness. He calls us Darkness Brothers. See, this is long before Wesley Snipes.
Before Wesley
Back
Snipes.
then, we was the blackest niggas on the planet. According to this book.
And he's both of his brother Darkness. Twin brother Darkness.
And we standing there looking at him. He's looking right in our eyes as he grinds his mud.
See, I never just did things just to do them. Come on, I mean, what am I gonna do? Just all of a sudden just jump up and grind my feet on somebody's couch like it's something to do. Come on, I got a little more sense than that. Yeah, I remember grinding my feet on his couch.
What to do an instant replay.
See, I never just did things just to do them. Come on, I mean, what am I gonna do? Just all of a sudden just jump up and grind my feet on somebody's couch like it's something to do. Come on, I got a little more sense than that. Yeah, I remember grinding my feet on his couch.
And then it was like, you know what? Let's handle this. We went over there.
Right? Hey, Charlie, baby.
And we held him down. And we just wailed on his legs.
You darkness, you black midnight evil motherfucker, black magic darkness, raw darkness, you fucking delirious motherfucker. You were cold as ice.
But still, Rick James, even after taking a beating like that,
fuck your couch, nigga.
This motherfucker's going out. His legs is like linguini.
I done kicked out of better homes than this. I'll be back. Wide nose having motherfucker. They said they never gave you niggas money. You don't know how to appreciate it. You know you get another couch. What am I gonna do about my legs?
My brother, you know, he's a lot more compassionate than I am. He's looking at limos driving off. He said, wow, man, Rick really needs help. I was like, yo, we just gave him some help. Fucking ass and shit. I bet you he won't come over here and disrespect like that again. Wrong. Talking about Rick James, man.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Pretty good skit there.
It really is. It's like it's not the funniest sketch. But
not at all. But
like you said, it maybe makes the top 10. Maybe number 8, number 7, number 8, number 9, somewhere in there. It's so hard to rank these. Like they're all
and that's another thing. It's really none of them are just bad. So it's just very hard to rank. Very hard to rank.
Like I think like all of the ones from season 1 and season 2 are up there. The only time where I think it started to fade was when they tried to do the Lost episodes without Dave.
Right.
And some of those were funny, but then some of them were just really, you could tell it was like, man, like I never thought the Cribs one was all that funny. You know, it just went too over the top. Like when these guys pulls out this dinosaur egg out of his refrigerator. I mean, it's like it's like they had filmed these and then Dave left. So yeah, that sketch would have been season 2. So we're talking 2004, early 2004. And then Rick James died August of 2004.
Yeah.
So interesting guy. The cocaine's a hell of a drug. That caught on also. People to this day use that.
Yeah.
People will replace cocaine with whatever it is at the time. Like if somebody's getting crazy on like tequila, like tequila's a hell of a drug, you know? Yep. I mean, it's become ubiquitous in our society as part of pop culture.
That completed our list, didn't it?
yeah, because we're gonna hold off on Black Bush. Reevaluate.
Yeah, we'll hold off on Black Bush. We may add I'm sure we'll probably maybe add a few more to discuss.
Oh yes, I want to add in
episode 2.
I want to add the racial draft.
Oh yeah, we need to add the racial draft in there, and
racial draft is great.
So we'll have plenty more, and this time we won't wait as long before we come back and hit you guys with another episode.
Any final thoughts, Darren?
No, because we have a lot more to still cover on these. But some pretty good episodes today that we discussed. Discussed one of my all-time favorites, the Clayton Bigsby, if not my favorite, definitely my number 2. So very stoked about that, and look forward to episode 2 to carry on of our top Chappelle favorites.
Absolutely. And then possibly an episode 3, depending on how many clips.
Right, exactly.
So many classics. All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate it. And thank you all for listening. We had almost 200 listens on our last one. So people are hanging in there with us. And
we appreciate each and every last one of you as well. Let me make sure we say that.
Absolutely. And
tuning in.
Some more ideas coming down the pipeline in addition to the best of. I think we've got some other ideas coming. So we'll discuss those. And I'll have this one out here probably later this evening. So thanks, everyone.
We appreciate it.